Okay, moving right along. Sony. Now, Sony has a lot more going on in the way of exclusives, but really, though, sort of like Microsoft, they don't have a whole lot that's that interesting to me. I'm curious to see more about this Rain game. I think that looks interesting. A lot of their stuff doesn't really, I don't know, I don't care about Beyond Two Souls, for example. That doesn't interest me. And I just kind of have that vibe about a lot of their stuff. But there are a couple of things, a couple of big questions I have for Sony that I really hope that they resolve, and this is what I want to see. And the biggest one of all, the most important thing of all, is this question: what about Sony's restrictions? I'm pretty convinced, the more I think about it, that the PlayStation 4 has got to have similar restrictions to the Xbox here. If they don't, that's great. And it also means Microsoft has killed themselves. But you notice that Sony is not out there saying, oh yeah, those restrictions are terrible. Everyone look forward to the PS4. Our wonderful machine doesn't have any restrictions like that. They're not out there saying that right now. They're keeping their mouths shut. Almost like, they hope nobody notices them, as they quietly put all of the exact same restrictions in place. I just am getting that feeling, just using my logic or whatever. And really, I think the only hope that they don't have restrictions like this, the only reason they wouldn't be talking about not having it is if they were saving that for E3. So I'm looking to see in their conference if they say something like, we have no restrictions on used games, or, at any rate, less restrictions or something, I'm looking to see if there's something like that. Because if there isn't, if they don't say anything about it, to me, that will be basically a confirmation that they are at least still considering having similar restrictions. And maybe they might back off if the hate towards Microsoft continues, That's one reason it's important to be vocal about our disapproval of this. But they've got to be at least considering it, I figure. And I think third-party publishers are really driving this. I think they're the ones who really want it, especially, I think the platform holders are nervous about it, I betcha. Or at least, I think some of them might be. Anyways, that's the most important thing to me that they could possibly say in their conference. Now, as far as games go, I do have I have a couple of thoughts. The first thing is it too soon to wonder what Naughty Dog is going to do with the PS4? It probably is. The Last of Us isn't even technically out yet, I think. But nevertheless, Naughty Dog is probably Sony's best first-party developer. It'll be very interesting to see what they do. I'm very curious about it. And I just hope that I would really like to see something. I don't know. Like I say, it's too soon. They're probably not ready to reveal anything yet. They only just finished the one they're already doing. But, I don't know. They could have something, right, in the works. I don't really know about Naughty Dog's structure these days. I don't know if, they have two teams. Is it possible there's a second team that's been, working on Uncharted 4 or something like that on the PS4? I don't know. Maybe, right? Because Last of Us has been in development a long time. But, yeah, I don't know. It may be too soon, but that's definitely, if they could show that, that would be exciting, because they're probably Sony's best developer. Beyond that, we know what a lot of their upcoming exclusives are going to be, and it's nothing overly exciting. I'm sure there's going to be a new Gran Turismo on the PS4. I'm sure it's going to be, unbelievably realistic, and I'm sure I won't play it. There's only a few things like that. A lot of the franchises that one associates with Sony, like Final Fantasy and Metal Gear and stuff like that, are going multi-platform now. So, and have been multi-platform for a while in many cases. So, it's no longer really fair to talk about those as Sony games, although I still mainly play those games on the Sony platforms. But there is one game that I know, at least I think I know, is in development, and that I haven't heard anything about in quite a while. Paisanos, I'm talking about The Last Guardian. It was my most anticipated game for the PS3. Team Ico's work on the PS2 was unbelievable. It was the absolute best games on that platform and some of the best games ever made. Period. Like, Shadow of the Colossus is definitely in the top 10 games ever made at all list. I mean, I've played that game through like 10 times. It's totally unbelievable. It's so smart and intelligent and so well designed and fascinating. I was really looking forward to see what Team Ico was going to do with the new hardware, and they've been nowhere to be seen. And it's got me, a little depressed, and I've been thinking about it. This E3, they gotta show that shit. If they don't show The Last Guardian at this E3, that game is canceled. That's what I'm saying. That game, people have been asking them, is it still in development? They say, it's still in development. Okay, but at a certain point, you gotta show the goods. And if they still show us nothing about The Last Guardian, that game is not gonna ever be finished and released, I'm telling you. It makes no sense to continue working on it, right? Because it's a PS3 game, ostensibly, unless they've quietly switched it to PS4, which they could have done, but that would be a huge blow. That would mean starting all over again, because the architecture is so different between the platforms. It's a PS3 game, and this is like the last fall that you could release a PS3 game at all, as a Sony studio, right? It makes sense, say that the PS4 isn't coming out until late in the fall. They could still manage to release a couple of high-profile PS3 games late this year, like in August, September, things like that. It could still be a PS3 game if it's coming out soon. And if it's coming out soon, they gotta show it. You know what I mean? It's possible they switched it to PS4, but I think that's relatively unlikely. I just think that would just be for a game that's already run on for so long and been so expensive to switch platforms. I just don't think so. So I don't know about that game, but I hope to hear something about it at this E3. And like I say, Naughty Dog, I wonder what they're up to. Last Guardian is a really important game to me, so I really hope I hear something about that. But most of all, what I want to hear from Sony is some comment about what kinds of online restrictions and used game restrictions they have in the PS4. If they keep their mouth shut on that, that means that they don't want to tell you. You know what I'm saying? So that is a major red flag. And that's, more than anything else, that's what I want to know out of Sony's conference.